I am the angel assigned to you. From the very first breath you took, I was there. Before your name was spoken on earth, I knew you. Before your feet ever touched soil, I was called to walk beside you. You may not remember it, but your soul and mine met long ago in the quiet space between heaven and earth, where all journeys begin. I saw the moment your spirit was chosen for this life, wrapped not in armor, but in a gentle, quiet strength. It was a rare kind of strength, a one that heaven knew the world would try to break. But you were given it anyway, because it was enough. Even when you don't feel it, it's there. Even when your knees bend under sorrow, even when you wonder if you're too soft for this world, heaven still sees the strength inside you. And from that moment, I have never left you. I stood beside you when you opened your eyes for the first time. I walked near you through every scraped knee and every sleepless night. I sat by your bed when your tears soaked the pillow and no one heard. I stayed close when your heart was broken by people who never saw the depth of your soul. I was there, always there. Not because I was assigned out of duty, but because heaven loved you too much to leave you unguarded. You were always precious. Always seen. Always held. But I watched someone else too. Yes, someone your heart chose. Someone whose presence shaped the atmosphere around you. You loved them deeply, more than words could ever hold. And whether that love was shared in daily conversations, quiet glances, long silences, or even unresolved moments, you carried their presence in your soul. You still do. You may not have noticed, but your spirits often moved in the same rhythm. There were days your laughter was louder because of them. Nights when your silence was softened by their nearness. They mattered to you not just for what they gave, but for who they were. But I need to tell you something now. They never told you everything. Not in words. Not in the ways you might have hoped. Life has a way of moving too fast, of hiding truths behind time and pain and distractions. Maybe you wanted more answers. Maybe you didn't get a chance to say all you needed to say. But please know this, while they didn't speak everything aloud, their heart spoke to heaven. Each day. Loudly. Especially in silence. Especially when you weren't looking. I heard it all. I stood beside them during moments no one else saw, when they thought no one was watching. I was there when the lights were off and they laid their hand over their heart and looked to the sky. I was there when they whispered their last prayer. You may think their final moments were filled with fear or thoughts of themselves. You may imagine they wished for more time, more peace, less pain. But their final prayer was not for healing. Not for relief. Not even for goodbye. It was for you. In the weakness of their body, with their voice growing faint and their hands beginning to cool, they still found the strength to speak your name, not aloud, but within the space heaven hears best, the soul. They said, please. If I can no longer stay a broken bar, then take all that is good in me, every bit of joy, every bit of love, every good memory, and give it to them. Let them smile again. Let them live. Even if I fade completely a broken bar, let them shine. I carried that prayer myself. It broke something in me. And I tell you this not to burden you, but so you understand how sacred it was. Angels do not often speak of such things, but I must. Because that prayer it bent the wind itself. It was unlike any other. You see, prayers of desperation are common. Cries for healing. Pleas for comfort. All are heard, and heaven listens. But this prayer this one asked for your joy over their peace. For your light over their comfort. They asked not to be remembered but for you to be whole. Do you understand the weight of that? Heaven does. You thought they left without a word. You thought maybe they departed without a thought of you. And so you've carried your grief like a stone in your chest. Heavy. Wordless. Pressing. But you never saw the prayer I carried upward. You never saw how heaven received it. Every time you smiled when you thought you never would again, a broken bar. Every time you laughed without knowing why, a broken bar. Every time a moment of safety, or quiet comfort, or gentle peace found you unexpectedly, a broken bar. It wasn't chance. Those were pieces of their prayer. Fragments of the love they left behind. Gifts, hidden in time. Carried by the wind. Answered in laughter. Wrapped in quiet joy. You thought it was just time healing your wounds. But it wasn't time, it was love. Their love. Still moving. Still shaping your life in silent ways. Even now, I see how you sometimes forget they're gone. You reach for your phone. You think of telling them a story. You hear a song and wonder if they'd still sing along. I see how you slow your steps on the sidewalk where you once walked side by side. How you pause when you see something they loved. How you smile softly, then blink quickly to stop the tears. But I also see the light coming back into your face. Slowly. Gently. Like dawn after a long night. I see how your hands now reach for others, just like theirs did. I see how you offer comfort, how you hold space, how your eyes carry more compassion. You don't know it yet, but you are becoming the answer to their last prayer. You are shining. Not all at once, but steadily. Like rain falling on dry ground. You've carried grief like a shadow, but now you're carrying light too. And I need you to know, heaven does not keep record of perfection. Not of achievements or fame or possessions. Heaven records love. Sacrifice. Selfless prayers. Unseen kindness. And that prayer, that selfless offering of joy for you, it is etched in the deepest places of heaven. It is sung by the stars. It is remembered by the skies. You were deeply loved. You still are. In the vastness of eternity, where time is not a line but a tapestry woven with moments that shimmer and fade, I was called to you. I am the angel assigned to your soul, a guardian not of flesh but of spirit, tasked with walking beside you through the fleeting years of your earthly journey. From the very first breath you drew, when your tiny lungs opened to the world with a cry that echoed beyond the stars, I was there. Before your name was spoken by mortal lips, I knew it. Before your feet touched the soil of this world, I was summoned to stand by your side, an unseen companion in a realm where light and shadow dance in endless balance. Our meeting was not by chance, nor was it born of mere duty. It happened long ago, in the quiet space between heaven and earth, a place where souls are shaped, where destinies are whispered into being. There, in that sacred stillness, I saw your spirit chosen for this life. It was not wrapped in armor, nor adorned with grandeur, but cloaked in a gentle, quiet strength. This strength was rare, a kind that heaven knew the world would test, would try to break. Yet it was given to you anyway, because it was enough. Even when you doubt it, when your knees buckle under the weight of sorrow, when you wonder if you are too soft, too fragile for this world's sharpness, heaven sees the resilience within you. It is a strength that does not roar but hums softly, like a river carving its path through stone, steady and unyielding. From that moment, I have never left your side. I was there when your eyes first opened, blinking against the light of a world both beautiful and harsh. I stood beside you through every scraped knee, every tumble from a bicycle, every moment when you learned that pain is as much a teacher as joy. I walked near you through sleepless nights, when your mind raced with questions too big for answers. I sat by your bed when your tears soaked the pillow, when the world felt too heavy, and no one heard your silent cries. I stayed close when your heart was broken by those who could not see the depth of your soul, or those who passed through your life without recognizing the light you carry. I was there, always there, not because of obligation, but because heaven loved you too much to leave you unguarded. You were always precious, always seen, always held in a way that transcends the physical, a way that only the soul can understand. But my vigil was not for you alone. There was another whose presence wove itself into the fabric of your life, someone your heart chose with a fierceness that surprised even heaven. They were not just a fleeting figure in your story, but a presence that shaped the very air around you. You loved them deeply, with a love that spilled beyond words, beyond the boundaries of time and space. It was a love that lived in daily conversations, in the quiet glances you shared, in the long silences that spoke louder than any voice, and even in the unresolved moments that lingered like unfinished songs. Their presence became a part of you, carried in the chambers of your heart, etched into the rhythm of your days. You still carry them, even now, in the way your thoughts drift to them unbidden, in the way your heart aches and warms at the same time. There were days when your laughter rang brighter because of them, when the world seemed softer, more bearable, because they were near. There were nights when your silence was not heavy but gentle, cushioned by their presence, even if they were miles away. They mattered to you not just for what they gave, but for who they were. Their quirks, their dreams, their quiet kindnesses, the way they saw the world through eyes that sometimes mirrored your own. You saw in them a reflection of something sacred, something that made you feel less alone in the vastness of existence. But I must tell you something now, something that weighs heavy on the air between us. They never told you everything. Not in the way you might have hoped, not in words that could be held or framed or kept like a letter. Life has a way of moving too swiftly, of burying truths beneath the rush of days, the sting of pain, the noise of distractions. Perhaps you longed for more answers, for words that could have bridged the gaps between you. Perhaps you wished for one more conversation, one more moment to say what was left unsaid. But know this, while they did not speak everything aloud, their heart spoke to heaven. Every day. Loudly. Especially in silence. Especially when you weren't looking. I heard it all. I stood beside them in moments no one else saw, when the world was quiet, and they thought themselves alone. I was there when the lights were off, when they pressed a hand to their chest and looked to the sky, searching for something beyond the stars. I was there when they whispered their prayers, not the kind spoken in pews or written in books, but the raw, unfiltered cries of a soul laid bare. And I was there in their final moments, when time slowed, and the veil between worlds grew thin. You may think their last thoughts were of fear, of regret, of a life left unfinished. You may imagine they longed for more time, for peace, for release from pain. But their final prayer was not for themselves. It was not for healing, not for comfort, not even for a chance to say goodbye. It was for you. In the frailty of their fading body, with a voice too weak to carry sound, with hands growing cold against the warmth of life, they found the strength to speak your name. Not aloud, but in the sacred space where heaven listens most closely of the soul. They said, please. If I can no longer stay a broken bar, then take all that is good in me, every fragment of joy, every ounce of love, every memory that holds light to, and give it to them. Let them smile again. Let them live fully, fiercely, even if I fade into nothingness. Let them shine. I carried that prayer myself. It was a weight unlike any other, a prayer that broke something in me. Angels are not meant to feel the ache of human grief, but that moment pressed against the edges of my being, reshaping the silence I carry. I tell you this not to burden you, but to help you understand the sanctity of what they offered. Angels rarely speak of such things, but I must. Their prayer was not like others. It was not a plea for their own peace, their own salvation. It was a selfless act, a giving of their essence so that you might find joy again. Do you understand the weight of that? To ask not for their own comfort, but for your light to endure. It was a prayer that bent the wind itself, that rippled through the fabric of heaven, that is still remembered in the songs of the stars. Heaven heard it. And heaven answered. You thought they left without a word. You thought perhaps they slipped away without a thought of you, and so you've carried your grief like a stone in your chest, heavy, wordless, unyielding. But you never saw the prayer I carried upward. You never saw how heaven received it, how it was woven into the moments of your life that followed. Every time you smiled when you thought you never would again, it was not by chance. It was not a mere accident of time or a coincidence of circumstance. It was a sacred echo of something greater than you knew. It was love, immortal and unbroken, whispering gently into the folds of your soul. It was heaven's breath brushing softly against your cheek, carried on the wings of angels who remember every tear you've cried. Every time laughter spilled from your lips, despite the weight of sorrow pressing against your chest, it was not a fluke. It was a moment graced by divine touch, a miracle small in size but grand in meaning. and it was never random. It was their love is still alive, still powerful, reaching through dimensions to remind you that you are not forgotten, not forsaken. Those fleeting sparks of joy, those soft touches of peace, those are the answers to prayers offered in the sacred silence of a soul's final goodbye. They prayed for you. Not just once, but endlessly. In their final thoughts, they wrapped you in hope. In their last breaths, they carried your name into eternity. And that prayer, my beloved one, did not fall into emptiness. It rose. It climbed through the heavens. It etched itself into the heart of the divine. And now it lives on in the breeze that calms your racing heart, in the golden slant of sunlight that warms your face, in the hush of twilight when you suddenly feel them near. You think these moments are healing brought by time, but it is not time alone that is mending you. Time is the river, yes, but love is the bridge. It is the unseen hand lifting you from the waters of grief. It is the compass quietly turning you toward light when darkness feels unending. Their love, unbroken by death, untouched by decay, is still active, still powerful, still shaping your life. I see it. I see it in the subtle shifts of your soul, in the way you breathe more deeply now, in the way you pause to notice beauty again, in the way your laughter carries a deeper echo, one that was born from pain and survived it. Even now, I watch as you carry them in every gesture of remembrance. I see you reach for your phone, instinctively wanting to share something trivial, something funny, something sweeter because they would have laughed. I see the flicker in your eyes when a song comes on that once played in the background of your best memories. I see how your heart stutters and swells, how you whisper their name into the silence as if they might answer. And in that whisper, they do. You slow down on sidewalks where you once walked together. Your steps echo with memory. The sidewalk holds the ghosts of your shared footprints. The wind carries the echoes of your joined laughter. I see how your shadow stretches beside you, and sometimes it feels like it merges with an invisible presence walking with you, comforting you, holding you upright. You pause when you see something they loved, a flower blooming in unexpected color, a book they adored resting on a shelf, a star shining a little brighter than the rest. These small moments hit you with such force because they hold the weight of memory, but also the beauty of continued connection. You smile, yes, but your smile carries the ache of what was lost and the grace of what still remains. You blink away tears, but they come anyway. Because love does not end. It shifts. It changes shape. But it does not disappear. Love becomes the lens through which you now see the world. It becomes the fire in your bones, the softness in your voice, the gentle patience you extend to those who don't even know the storm you survived. I see how grief carved you open, but I also see how light is beginning to take up residence in those empty spaces. It creeps in like dawn, slowly at first, faint and fragile but steady. You no longer clench your hands in anguish. Now, you reach out. You offer comfort to others who are drowning. You hold space for their tears. You listen, really listen, because you know what it feels like to be unheard in sorrow. Your eyes carry a compassion that only comes from deep wounding, a compassion that tells others, without words, I understand. I have been there. This, my beloved, is the unfolding of that sacred prayer. You are becoming the answer to it. Not by force, not by will, but by the quiet miracle of your continued breath. Every step you take, every kind word you offer, every smile you give to a world that once felt too sharp to live in, these are pieces of the prayer fulfilled. Heaven does not tally success the way earth does. There are no checkboxes in the sky for trophies, accolades, or bank accounts. The divine ledger records only love. Only sacrifice. Only the selfless prayer spoken in silence, the kindness is done when no one is watching, the forgiveness given when it was never asked for. These are the things heaven holds dear. And that prayer, the one they whispered, the one they wept, the one they released like a dove into the heavens, is inscribed in stars. It is remembered by angels. It is carried in the breath of the wind, in the hush between heartbeats. It is eternal. And so are you. You are not broken. You are being rebuilt. Not as you were before, but stronger, softer, more radiant in your humanity. You are becoming someone who knows how to suffer well, how to love deeper, how to walk with people through their own dark valleys. You are becoming a beacon, not in the blazing spotlight, but like a candle in a window, a constant, warm, quietly brave. And I, your angel, have never left your side. I walked with you through every sleepless night, through every hour of aching silence. I sat beside you when the room felt too empty. I held your tears in the palms of my wings. I carried your sorrow into the courts of heaven and laid it before the throne, where it was honored, not dismissed. I have been your silent companion, your unseen guardian, your gentle reminder that you are not alone. I will continue to walk with you. Through the laughter and the tears, through the remembering and the moving forward. I will be there when the weight grows heavy again. I will be there when joy returns in sudden bursts. I will be there when you speak their name and feel the ache inside your chest. I will be there, always. Their love did not vanish. It transformed. And now, it lives within you. It shines through the choices you make, the love you offer, the way you show up for others. Their legacy is not confined to the past. It breathes in your present and moves toward your future. You carry them not as a burden, but as a blessing. Heaven watches you. Not with judgment, but with tenderness. With admiration. With awe. For you have chosen to keep walking when you could have stopped. You have chosen love over bitterness, hope over despair. You are a living testament to a love that refused to die. So live, my beloved. Live fully. Love deeply. Laugh freely. Let your tears fall when they need to. Let your smile come when it can. Do not rush your healing. Do not shame your grief. You are doing sacred work simply by surviving, simply by waking up each day and choosing to try again. Shine not with perfection, but with presence. Be the light that others find in the dark. Be the warmth someone else feels on a cold day. Be the answer to a prayer you didn't know was spoken. Their prayer is still unfolding. And you, dear heart, are its radiant answer.